Obviously proud of our group's resilience to keep fighting. And I don't think we had a great energy in the first half, but it's hard to have energy. You go 1 for 15 from 3 and miss every layup. We'll blame it on the turkey from Thanksgiving. With that said, we're still learning each other. They're learning me. I thought, again, we found a way to compete, play a lot more for each other in the second half. So I had some individual performances that obviously helped that. But we know we got to get better. But it's a lot better winning while you get a chance to continue to learn. Knowing we've got a big one coming up here in Littlejohn this upcoming week. So again, proud of our last 20 minutes. We've got a lot to work on.
Questions? Coach, after giving up 19 in the first, what was the key to turning things around defensively and shutting down the paint for Kennesaw State?
Yeah, it starts with guarding the ball. We didn't have a great on-ball presence. With that said, I mean, they empty out a ton of sides. If you watch a lot of double brush actions, and we didn't, like our normal defense, we don't cut people off, right? We funnel it to corners, but in that action specifically, you need to cut it off because all your help's behind the ball, right? And we built walls and allowed them to play in space early on, which then at times forced our big to have to come across. And not only did they not score, if they scored or didn't score, they still had their hands on loose balls and offensive rebounds, especially early. But it was mostly that, angles, right? Having more of a pride on the ball, but also to send it back to where all the help was.
Coach, what was your message to the team kind of like after the first half? A lot, of course, energy was down. Things were kind of just feeling a little off. So what were you telling your team to kind of keep them grounded for second half?
Well, someone that's going to stay in the locker room, but it wasn't a fun speech, right? Again, that's me learning them. I got to figure out ways that can rally them together, not splinter them. And I'm still learning that. I think they're still learning that. I don't want to have the speech that I had today in there again, but maybe we found little ways that we can get them to come out with just a little bit more urgency, right? I think sometimes that we're a product on makes and misses and those kind of things instead of what is our identity, right? Will we play regardless? Have a sense of urgency regardless? Can we have that same focus that we had the first 20 minutes against South Carolina here when there's a lot of people compared to 1,000 people in the stands? Right? Like there's a different feel. Right? You walk out there as a college athlete and there's that kind of crowd, it's hard to get amped. Right? And that's my job to help put a product on the floor that they want to come back and watch, but it's hard. Right? It is hard. And I'm proud of the ones that have come. Please come back. I hope you're enjoying yourself. But we need more people. Right? We need more people. We need to create an atmosphere in Littlejohn that makes it feel like, wow, I have a different sense of urgency today.
Coach, looking to Thursday, what can you all do to start off faster in the first half?
Well, some of it is just the name across their jersey, right? You can put Florida, and we now are representing not only Clemson, but we're representing a conference. Being in a challenge, it's bigger, way bigger than just Clemson. It's to try to, again, put a notch on the right side for the ACC. With that said, I also, again, we got to continue to look in the mirror and how do we get ourselves better, right? Is it practicing better? Is it coach changing our lineups? What is it? Right? I gotta figure that part out. But some of that comes with just being able to look in the mirror and be honest, right, with ourselves and not. And I'm not sold. We had 2 great days the last 2 days coming back from Thanksgiving, and I didn't do a good job holding them accountable to make sure we were better. Right? I think you saw a product of that the first 20 minutes.
Speaking of that, so what will be your biggest takeaway from today's game?
That we continue to show we got a lot of potential. That's a scary word, right? It's a scary word, especially with this team because we got 1 year together. You look at this roster build up, and I think that's some of it. I really do, right? There's a lot of internal pressure of Tessa Miller wants to be really darn good because she's got 1 year left, and Selma Evans got 1 year left, and Will McQueen's got 1 year left. You go down the Addie Grace Porter's got 1 year left. Mm-hmm. And so you put so much pressure on yourself because this is it, all while you're trying to figure it out in a new environment. Right? That's part of it. I really believe that. And it's also, for me, continuing to learn them of like how to press them buttons to relax, right? Relax and be yourself. And don't put so much pressure and onus on yourself. Enjoy it. Toe tested yesterday, I think it was in practice. Smile, baby. You only got a couple of these left, right? And you're going to want to get these back. A calendar year from now, you're going to beg to have this time back. And I don't know if that answers your question, but I do think that the potential is through the roof with this group, and we continue to show that. But like, time's running out for potential, you know, and we gotta get better and be more consistent. As we obviously know, our schedule becomes much tougher. You think about, obviously, Florida comes to town Thursday, Radford comes to town, and then I think, if I'm not mistaken, we're right into ACC play, right? And a tough San Diego swing right after that. Like, it's about to get much more real. I'm going to go over to Brad and figure out what he's doing. Theirs is about to get real too, right? I think they got Kentucky coming in a couple days. So, potential. That's what I feel with this group.
Thank you.
Coach, you tweaked the lineup for the first time this season today, inserting Raven Thompson, who obviously was a premier player for you the last couple of years at Chattanooga. Talk a little bit about what you've seen from her over the course of the first 6 games that led to that decision.
Yeah, you know, Ray's just a security blanket. And my hopes were that she could give a security blanket to the rest of them out there and maybe get them to relax a little bit, right? Again, you got a point guard trying to learn me, us. Hannah Cohn's playing in a totally different role, right? She didn't start a game for us in Chattanooga. Tess is, you know, like, there's a lot of people still figuring out. And my whole thought process was put somebody out there that can kind of calm us down a little bit, right? There's a comfort level. Obviously, she's played against Kennesaw as well. And then, again, maybe to try to get a spark to come off the bench potentially. You know, like, our bench points hadn't been great the last couple games. So a lot of different ways, but the biggest thing is really more security blanket. And I think she proved me right. Like, her stats may not tell you 5 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. That's not bad, but plus 24 plus minus tells me, right, that the rest of the group feels comfortable with her out there.
Coach, Tessa's first double-double as a Tiger today, 15 and 11. Tell us a little bit about her performance and how it impacted the team.
Yeah, well, she's a good basketball player, and Coach Poppei finally did a better job of getting her the ball. You know, and I'm learning. You know, we played, if you watch us the last couple of games, we played in so many isolated 2-man game sides. And I think against, you know, maybe inferior teams, we were able to get away with it. And I think we got exposed heavily when we played South Carolina and Alabama. And what I mean by that is they're so long and able to sit in gaps and get back to our shooters. It puts Tessa one-on-one against their bigs. And I think it really crowded our guards, right? And so we kind of went back to the drawing board. Not that we took that out, but we really tried to put a little bit more people behind the ball, right? Make the reads a little bit easier for our guards, but also it allows Tess, if you go back and watch, right, she does a really good job of not only rolling and catching and finishing, but playing behind the ball, right? So she can work on angles on that throwback, throw in. So some of that's me, right? And I keep telling her, I'm trying to figure it out, Tess, stay with me, right? Stay with me. And I thought we did a much better job of that today. And that's going to continue to be a piece. But it goes back to the potential, right? You're taking advantage of what people give you, right? And as people make adjustments to that, she may not get as many looks, but she got a lot tonight because of how they played. And I thought we did a better job of taking advantage of it. So, and then the rebounding, that's kind of what I'm probably more proud of than anything else, right? Yeah, 15 points was phenomenal, especially how she finished. I think she was 2 for 6 at one point, right? And beating herself up like she always does. And we're trying to get her to stop doing that. But she finished much better, which allowed her 15 points. Mine is really rebound. She was tough, right? 3 offensive rebounds, 11 total. We're going to need that because we're not the biggest team in America going forward.
Hannah Cohn, season high in points, 4 of 6 from outside. How much does she impact the game when she's shooting the ball like that?
Well, it spreads the floor. It allows Tess to get some of those looks. Right? You go back and watch on film, we put Hannah behind the ball quite a bit. And you get a decent ball screen and any kind of help with a big, it forces you, you're going to guard Tess on the roll or you're going to take Hannah away behind the ball, right? And so that's what she does for us, but also transition, right? She allows that floor to stay spaced and our guards to get, you know, the Loyals and the Mias to get in the paint. Like that's how this team is put together. We just haven't clicked yet, right? And it was nice for her to see the ball go through the basket, to get 6 clean looks, but also to make them, right? I feel like she's taken some good looks, but she's sped herself up the last couple games. Again, back to her, I'm probably most proud is her plus minus is towards the top every game, no matter how she shoots it. but I think that continues to show her value, right, of how valuable she is for us.
Something this team's done at a nationally elite level this season is share the ball. 20 assists on 28 made field goals, an extremely high assist percentage. Talk to us a little bit about how the team was sharing the balls.
Yeah, well, we got back to you got to call multiple names. I bet if you went back and listened to the broadcast against Alabama, there wasn't very many names. We just didn't share it, right? But I also think that we do sometimes overpass. It's going to sound kind of wild. We got to look at the basket first. Our numbers go up there when we get to play to our skill sets, right? Like you can't have 20 assists without making some shots, right? And I think that allowed it, but we finally made the right looks again. And so it's one of those things that's how we play. I don't want it to be a one-on-one, everyone stare at one person. I want us all to be involved and let everyone play to their strengths is how we're trying to build it. And I think that when this team understands that through experiences, that they'll continue to get better and better and better.
Any more questions?
Coach, what's the message to your group as you gear up towards a big matchup out of conference against Florida? Obviously played 2 SEC teams. This will be your 3rd already in the young season. Florida, losers of 4 straight. They play Hofstra tomorrow. It's going to be a motivated group that's really hungry to get a win.
Yeah. That if we play like we did the first 20 minutes, it's going to be a long night. I think they're going through some of the same stuff that we may be going through internally. We just got away with it today, just to be candid. And I'm not going to get into details, but like teams got to learn each other. We got 14 people that have never played together. And you can say all you want about the summer and bonding and all that. Man, when competition puts a whole new adversity to you, right? You learn a lot about one another. And that's why I said it's fun to learn while you're winning, as long as we're willing to learn. And I've not done a great job as the head coach here of making sure we continue to stay with culture matters first, right? And that has to be the foundation of what we're building a program, not a team. And then I got to continue to stick to that, right? And it's hard sometimes, right? It's hard. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot going on with it. But ultimately, I have a group in that locker room that I believe in. I do honestly believe they believe in us too. And we have to get better at that, right? We have to get better at looking to my right and left, knowing that we got each other's back. Right? And that I can take that pressure off. And yes, I'm a senior, but like winning is fun, right? And I have a role here, and I'm going to play a role in that. And when I do that, it becomes fun, and that's what I think we're still missing. Right? I think when that light bulb clicks, which it will, I will not sleep at night making sure that this group gets what they deserve. But I haven't figured that button out yet, right? My hopes are they know that we care and love about them, and as long as we continue to push forward, the right things will happen.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl.